Ben,
Whoa.
I drove past something today, and I need to talk to you about it.
Yeah, go for it.
I drove past a pub in my local village, and there was a sign outside, and it said, "Poker night this Sunday. Great banter, all welcome." Do you think that all will be welcome?
I imagine everyone will be welcome. All the people who are white and over 55 will be welcome.
This was the exact thought that I had. I was sitting there, and as I drove past it, my immediate thought was, great banter is secret code for, we're going to take the piss out of you all night unless you're a regular, and also we may also be racist and homophobic.
I think that might be... See, I think if you're self-consciously saying that your establishment has great banter, that to me indicates that you don't have a lot of confidence in the level of said banter. Because if you were an establishment, particularly a public house, say, and you generally do have great banter, then people just don't know that, don't they? You don't have to advertise that you have that. You know, it's sort of like it says to me that pub is very, very self-conscious. You know, and it's very like, look, we don't have just great banter, we have the best banter. We are Banter Pub. In fact, that is the name of the pub. It's called the Banter Pub, or Bant Pub, or Bub. And
I imagine it's the kind of pub where if you went in and you started talking about how the Queen is secretly financing her nonce-son's lawsuits, they would go very quiet and it would not be considered good banter, despite the fact that, you know,
conspiracy banter.
And who doesn't love a bit of conspiracy banter?
Yeah, they should.
Dance, you know,
there should be a subreddit called Conspiracy Bants, where it's just like, but it's just conspiracy. It's not just conspiracy theory talk, because you can find that anywhere. It's conspiracy. It's particular breed of conspiracy bants where it's like my mate reckons. So it's just a subreddit full of people going, yeah, my mate reckons, right, that inside the moon there's a controlled by a dog that's funded by the CIA. And he has lasers, and he shot Kennedy, and the bullet off Kennedy's skull ricocheted and hit the Twin Towers. Boom.
Man, that is unbelievable. Everybody knows that inside the moon is a slightly smaller moon, and then inside that moon is a slightly smaller moon, and it's smaller moons all the way down until you get to one moon that is easily digestible.
And you know why it's smaller moons all the way down? Because the Russians got there first.
Yes. Oh, yeah. God, right, we're going to have to set this Reddit up. If not Reddit, can we do a cab thread? We'll get a cab thread going, it'll be fine.
Conspiracy bants. So
conspiracy bants. Every post opens with "My mate Dazza says."
I've got a conspiracy for you. What film are we watching? How's a good segue?
I'll tell you what film we're watching. We are back on the Bond, but we're not on the Bond that you would normally know.
No, we're on the B-sides.
We're back on the B-side Bond.
The Bond sides.
The theme tune is in a flat rather than a sharp, so you know it sounds a bit ominous. So, you know,
that's what I meant. I mean, it's sort of I don't want to say knockoff Bond, because that would imply that it's illegal in some way. It's not illegal. It's just, well, we'll get into all that. But shall we get cracking then, and we'll...
We shall get cracking. So today we're doing Never Say Never Again, which was rivaling Octopussy at the time that it came out. We are on a black screen. We're using the Blu-ray copy of this that I've managed to source perfectly legally. Okay, so Never Say Never Again. We're on a black screen, and we're going in 3, 2, 1, play.
Us.
And there was no greater fear in my mind than seeing a fucking Orion logo at the start of a Bond film.
It is slightly incongruous, but to be fair, I mean, considering the fact that the Bond films have changed ownership so many times over the last 10-15 years, I think every single film logo there is has been in front of a Bond film. I mean, there should be a Canon logo, really. That would have been better.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned the other night that Canon Bond, and I think that would have been amazing. It would have just been 2 hours of explosions and breasts. What's not to like?
Be better than the current iteration, as in at the time this film was made.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a difficult one for me, really, because having watched this for the first time, literally last night, all the way through, I kind of got conflicting feelings about it, because in many ways it is actually better than the mainland Bond films at the time.
I don't know. I mean, I've not actually seen this in such a long time. It used to be on ITV a lot. They'd always include it amongst the other their Bond runs. So I think the impression from a lot of people is just that it's just, along with the other ones. First of all, we should get into the theme song, Rubbish. That's my review.
Yes. Forgettable. Absolutely forgettable. It's on the same bar as the Octopussy theme tune, which is just, I couldn't hum you a bar. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember it. And I watched it 3 times in the last month. They did
ask John Barry to come in and do the music for this. But I think he turned it down because he was worried. I think he was worried that he'd get in shit with like the real Bond producers if he came and did this one, which is fairly understandable.
Yeah, just about. And as we get started into the film, we meet the oldest man in the world to play an action hero.
Right, you say that, but you want to know something that I found out last night when I was researching this? Sean Connery was younger than Roger Moore at the time.
Really?
Yes. So even though Sean Connery looks about 85 in this, he's still a sprightly young whippersnapper compared to the real Bond, the quote real Bond.
Oh blimey! Oh no, he's killing Vincent van Gogh.
Yeah, I can see why it's weird to have a Bond film that doesn't have the traditional titles with the ladies and the silhouettes. But I guess they felt they couldn't copy it too much.
No.
Lorenzo Semple Jr. Am I right thinking that's Lorenzo Semple was one of the same guys who wrote episodes for the Batman TV show in the 60s? Which goes some way to explaining a lot of this, if that's true. Probably should check.
I'll go with you on that. We're going to call I know we were talking earlier about conspiracy theories, and I think that we can have that as a conspiracy theory. If it's true, then we're hey. If it's not, then it's an official conspiracy theory.
We've got
that stuff around, ladies and gents.
We've got Irving Kershner on directing duties.
Yes. What did he direct again?
He only done one of the most iconic science fiction films of all time.
Doctor Who, the TV movie?
Yes. No, he directed The Empire Strikes Back, you silly fool.
Oh.
Blimey. And this would have been...
That's a pretty good credit, isn't it?
And this was 83, so this would have been after Empire. So yeah, he was probably
this is
on a bit of a high at the time.
Past his peak.
He also went on to direct your favourite film, RoboCop 2.
Hey. And by that I mean
and I think
I don't hate RoboCop 2, but
I think he's directed some stuff for the Muppets as well, if I'm not mistaken. That would figure because
for Muppet Treasure Island.
Frank, that'd figure. Frank Oz and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose I should. I know I probably talked about this when we did the Thunderball one, but we'll just. I think that probably worth just giving a very, very quick summary of why this film exists. So basically, so back in the 50s, Ian Fleming and another chap called Kevin McClory, whose name has come up more than once, wrote a pilot for a Bond TV show. It was called James Bond of the Secret Service, and it was all about Bond going to the Bahamas to stop Spectre because they've hijacked 2 nuclear warheads. Now, that TV show pilot never got made, but what Ian Fleming did was he took that idea and he wrote it into the novel, which became Thunderball. So when Eon Films, United Artists, acquired the rights to the series, Kevin McClory got a bit upset because he said, hang on, that story I sort of co-wrote, so I have ownership of it, and you're not going to give me any money for it. So he took him to court, and basically the result of that years of legal nonsense and to and froing was that McClory had part ownership of things within the Thunderball IP, which meant he had part ownership of things like Spectre, because that was invented for that story. He had part ownership of Blofeld, and basically anything to do with Thunderball, which is why you see his name appear in the opening credits of Thunderball. But it also meant that because he had partial ownership of that story, he could legally make his own version of the story, with even using the same characters, so using James Bond, using M, using Blofeld, using Spectre, and there was nothing, and it was perfectly fine. It wasn't like he couldn't get in trouble for it, so he just went fuck it and went ahead and made this. So this film is really the result of a gigantic legal kerfuffle, and lots of legal wrangling and pain. Aren't movies magical?
I love it. It's amazing. I'm surprised that it's not owned by Disney already.
Give it time. So you, I remember your comment to me last night when you were watching this was that you thought that the guy playing M is a bit too cokey.
Yeah, he very much is. It's a lot less kind of, I mean, like M in the main Bond line films is kind of very straight, but he's very he's almost got a warm quality to him. It's like, Bond, this is the mission for the day. He goes through it very formally. This guy's like, Bond, you cunt, what have you been doing? Oh, you're eating fat and drinking women again, aren't you? Get into the gym and lose some weight, you fat fuck. I like that. I like that. Well, yeah, they probably thought they've got to make it somewhat different to justify its existence. So they had him doing lines.
Yeah, well, it was the 80s. White lines.
Vision, dreams of passion.
Is Michael Caine there as the Doctor? Not really.
So the problem is, Bond, you're very... I can't do a Michael Caine.
Only person in the world who can't do a Michael Caine impression.
I don't want to turn this into that bit in The Trip where Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon spend 10 minutes doing Michael Caine impressions through the ages. It's a shame, he retired yesterday.
That was your least favourite Madness song. I only found out that was Michael Caine is actually doing the Michael Caine impression in that song.
Really?
I thought it was one of the Madness lads, the Mad Lads.
I thought it was.
No, it's just that it sounds like someone doing a Michael Caine impression, which is probably how Michael Caine sounds these days.
I love the idea of him actually getting Michael Caine in to just say, my name is Michael Caine.
There's our main baddie. Now, I know that the main baddie in this is Largo, as in the Thunderball, but I think Fatima Blush, as played by Barbara Carrera, is really the proper baddie of this film. I mean, she definitely has more screen presence and more charisma, I'd say, than a lot of the other villains in this film. Oh, very
much so.
Yeah.
She also has one of the most bizarre death scenes I've ever seen. Spoilers, by the way.
What? You're saying that Bond wins at the end?
No, I'm just saying that her death scene in and of itself is incredibly bizarre. They choose to basically take this rather evil, malicious character and give her a fumbling, oh crikey death. Whereas, normally it'd be like, oh, she got shot and she sort of had this, moment of collapse as she falls over, clutching her chest, going, no! Instead, we've got, oh no, Q bundled up a bloody bomb and it blew her up, and
hey,
but it didn't quite blow up in time.
At least she didn't blow up like a balloon. She had a slightly more dignified death than that. And, oh look, there's Max von Sydow.
So it is. He looks well.
He's looking. I always thought he looked a bit like John Hurt there.
He does actually. It's the goatee, I think.
Oh, the little cat is going towards the camera. Look. Oh, look at him.
Ah, he's doing a thing with his paws. What a beautiful bean.
He's doing a little thing with his paw towards the camera. That's the best thing about this film so far.
Beautiful.
He's not a bad Blofeld, really. He should have been in it more, I think.
Yeah, that was one of the few things that kind of confused me a little bit. And I don't know why what it is with films of this era and Blofeld, but they seem to kind of introduce him and then fuck him off for the rest of the film. So, like this film, for example, he sort of turns up here. I think he pops up again about halfway through for a couple of minutes, and then that's it. You don't see him again. He's gone.
There was a lot of his scenes were left on the cutting room floor. That's what I heard, that there was a lot of cut material, which I guess is true of any film, but apparently Max von Sydow's performance was nearly like halved as a result of that, which is a shame because he does all right with what he does, even though that he sort of, it's I'm not sure how to explain it really. It sort of feels like it's sort of generic villain performance. Nothing wrong with that, but that's what it is.
What we're saying is release the Kirshner cut.
Irving Kershner is dead.
Release the Kirshner cook. We'll get the Ouija board out.
I know this is again not to do with this film, but you know Nancy Lewis, who was what's she called, the lady in RoboCop? What's the character called?
Oh, it's Oh God!
Oh,
review me.
I think the character's called Lewis. Nancy.
It's Lewis and Murphy, yeah.
So is the actress Nancy Allen?
I thought Nancy Allen was what's her name from?
God, I'm rubbish. But yeah, she always had very unpleasant things to say about Irvin Kershner, even after he died. Like,
really?
Yeah, she whenever she gave interviews about RoboCop 2, she always talked about how much of an arsehole she thought he was. And then she did an interview even after he died a few years ago, and even again she was like, I still hate him. Kick a man when he's down,
wow.
Lewis. Have you finished fucking around with your suspect yet?
That level of hatred should surely be reserved solely for Margaret Thatcher, and that's about it, really. You know, I mean, how can you venomously hate someone after you've surpassed them? You know,
I don't know. And now we're getting into 85-year-old man getting it on with a 21-year-old lady.
Whoa! Ow, my arm.
So what do you think of Sean Connery's, as my nanny used to call him, Sean Connery's performance in this film?
It feels like he was here for a paycheck, and I also need to point out that Bond would not drink Absolut vodka. What the fuck is going on with that? I don't think he'd even rinse his mouth out with that shit.
What would you have him drink, Smirnoff?
No, everybody knows that he would drink Baby Sham or Cherry B, and that is it.
Why wouldn't he drink Absolut?
Because it's a mid-brand vodka.
This is a mid-brand film. So there you go, it fits.
It's just the idea. I mean, I wouldn't have him drinking Smirnoff for starters, but you know, Russian Standard has been around since this film came out, and Russian Standard is considered quite high market. There's also, you know, stuff like Grey Goose and various other very expensive vodkas that we're not being sponsored to promote here. Absolut kind of is it's middle shelf. It's not something for a man who enjoys a 56 Bollinger. It's not something that I would imagine him shoving in his suitcase and being like, oh, you know, I can't wait to get myself a big glass of Absolut vodka.
Well, you can't just slug a gigantic case of Bollinger everywhere you go. Maybe the Absolut is just for like a portable thing when he's on the move.
Very true.
I mean, I'm surprised she's not getting an electric shock, that lady, from all the static electricity she's getting from his chest hair.
That is a serious amount of chest hair.
What was I going to say? Yeah, it does feel like he's cashing a paycheck, even though it's strange because he had, in what would echo sort of Daniel Craig's later involvement in his films, Sean Connery had a lot of creative input in this, which I guess is part and parcel for actually coming to do it, I'd say.
Well, this is one of the things that confused me, really, because I seem to remember towards the end of the Connery era in and of itself, you were saying that he was completely and totally loathing of the role and that he wanted nothing to do with it. And that between sort of crazy Japanese fans who tried to stalk him whilst he was on the toilet and being chased out of every building in America whenever he walked into the place, that he wanted absolutely nothing to do with it, which one of the questions I was going to ask you was what on earth made him come back, because seemingly, I mean, even towards the end of his life, he was like, yeah, I fucking hate the Bond stuff. So
I'd say two words: chat and ching.
Oh yeah, okay,
that which should answer any queries there. Although I'm not sure. I guess maybe he felt that it would be nice to work with someone, because you got to remember, Cubby Broccoli at this time was still very much running the official Bond show, and maybe Connery just didn't want anything to do with that lot. Maybe he just thought it'd be nice to work with someone different and someone who would listen to every single suggestion he made, which also probably helped.
Yeah, I suppose that's a a plus. I suppose if you're coming in with a bit more of a controlling hand on things, I suppose it makes it more palatable than if you're just being told to run around and do whatever they're telling you to do. So
that guy looks exactly like Gus Johnson, the YouTuber.
He does.
Exactly.
I tried.
Ah, she's got magic glasses.
Oh no! Ow, my ankles.
I can't tell whether that's you doing James Bond or just you in real life. It could be both.
I'm just gonna periodically make a joke at the fact that Sean Connery is old. Even if he is younger than Roger Moore, he's oldie. He's 110 versus Moore's 112. Look how old he is. Look at his old face.
So back in '83, you had two Bonds to pick from. You had Old Man or Old Man.
Brilliant.
Who would you pick?
I'm gonna pick the Old Man.
Because don't forget, when this came out, it was a proper Blur versus Oasis thing. I believe this came out like within the same month or so as Octopussy. So, As you can imagine, the tabloids and the newspapers in particular really racked that up. There was loads of at the time, Battle of the Bonds. Who will win? And I think in the end, Octopussy, in terms of gross, just about beat this.
Oh, blimey. Well, this was the one problem that I really had with this film, is I know that the reason why they made the film was cha-ching money.
Yeah.
But if this film had done better than Octopussy, where would they have gone with that? Because they couldn't make anything else, presumably.
No.
Out of this.
McClory couldn't have made anything else. Well, unless he completely ditched the Bond IP and just made films with a secret agent called, I don't know, Jim Pond. Or something like that. Yeah. No, that was a video game. But maybe it would have influenced the official series maybe to go in a slightly different direction. If this film had outperformed it, maybe it would have influenced them to sort of change their game a bit. So is this the version of the scene you like in Thunderball where he gets put on the rack?
It is. This is the equivalent of him humping the table. Which I've got a gif of that I'd go to whenever I'm feeling moderately morose, and it really cheers me up.
Which is most of the time these days, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the ice caps are melting, and my Tiny Tim record doesn't sound as good as it used to. So.
Oh, fuck. Oh, what's he doing? Oh. What's he doing at Bond? He's making him pull Pertwee faces.
Oh, my sternum.
You could probably get some good gifs as well out of the faces Bond pulls in that sequence.
Oh yeah, very much so. I love that. One of the things I will say this quite sincerely. So basically, the thing I really like about this film is I think that the performances in it are better than in Octopussy, and I think that the direction is better in this than in Octopussy. And I think there's some of the scripting in terms of pacing and plot is better than Octopussy, despite the fact that it is ultimately still a quite boring script. And I think that's probably the most damning thing I can say about Octopussy is when you're coming up against Thunderball, which is a very boring film, to come across as more boring than Thunderball is quite the accomplishment.
I have to say, I think that in terms of performance, that's one thing I like about this film. I know that Connery is obviously cashing a paycheck, but I actually think he's actually doing somewhat better than he did in Diamonds Are Forever. There are bits in this film where he is really trying, even though I think he's sort of playing it up slightly. I think this film is a lot... it's weird because this film feels like it belongs more in the campy mould of the Moore era, whereas Connery's films were a bit more... generally quite harder edged, weren't they, and more dark. But there's for example, this scene here where the fight is interrupted by people going, "Hey, football, come on and score goals." That's what football fans say.
That's what they like on them footballs.
They go, come on, football, get a touchdown, get a home run. That's what they say, Dan.
I love the fact that they had to get a frightened chef running away whilst they have a fight in the kitchen.
I'd love to have seen the casting call for that. I think every action film needs that, don't they? Frightened chef or frightened nurse or oh, he broke that knife.
Oh no. Okay, so you are a chef and you are frightened, and we need you to play that fear.
Uh-oh.
What is she? That was all she had to do then, was throw her apron over her face while she ran out.
Oh,
that would have been
extreme physical violence.
Yes.
From a man who couldn't possibly do all that stuff because he's too old. Here's Biddy.
Ow, my spine.
Hello.
Hello. I'll see you later.
No, this is a Sean
Be
film.
back at
Remember
2.
to be. I'll see you later.
I'll
he
be back soon.
just pops his head back round for sex. That's what I meant. I'm going to have sex.
Do you like Absolut vodka?
I mean, really, Bond would be... If you think about this fight, Bond would surely be dead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's broken his spine, his sternum.
Hours ago in this 3-hour fight.
Oh, yeah. He threw acid on his face. But hang on a minute.
That was the vodka.
That's not acid. That was the power of Absolut vodka.
Yeah.
That wasn't acid at all. That was his urine sample.
Oh, he's literally taking the piss.
It just goes to show that Bond's urine is actually a deadly corrosive acid after years of eating nothing but foie gras and drinking nothing but Bollinger.
We've analysed your urine sample. The doctors had to step out of the room for a minute, to pick up their jaws after they fell on the floor.
As soon as we were able to find a container that could hold it for longer than 10 seconds before it burnt through it.
One of them still hasn't physically recovered.
I like to think that this alternate universe Connery Bond doesn't drink Bollinger, he drinks Buckfast.
Yeah, well, after all, this is the Bizarro Bond. So,
Bizarro.
You know, in this universe, he doesn't drink Bollinger, he drinks Tango.
He does. He's all about Tizer.
I've got the eyes. Because I've got the ties.
Because I'm liking the Tizer.
That would have been a better theme song than the theme song for this film. Well, I was sitting on the other day, Right, exposition time. Men in uniform.
Gentlemen, we've all agreed.
Talking over maps.
Brilliant. They're American men.
Oh, that they mean business. They're wearing uniforms.
They mean business because
they're wearing uniforms. Look at the big board.
I'm going to say quite underwhelming that we're not getting those very grand Bond sets that we're used to.
Which is weird because I believe this film actually, they spent more money on it than Octopussy did. Which is interesting. But then again, Octopussy was quite cheap and cheerful for the most part anyway, compared to the others.
Yeah, there wasn't too many set pieces in Octopussy. A lot of it was outdoors, if memory serves.
I don't know. Like I say, maybe there is some quite big stuff later on, like when he goes into the sort of Egyptian-y bit at the end. He's looking very pleased with himself as villain. He gave a very sort of camp swish of that suitcase.
Certainly did. It's because he's got style.
He had style. He had grace.
He's got a fake eye.
He's got a robot. He's got an evil eye. I believe that's the term for it.
He's got an evil eye.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. At this point, I kind of lost track of what the plot was for this.
I mean, it's a remake. It's a remake of a film you've already seen, so I'm not sure how you can lose track of the plot.
Well, yeah, it was just when I got to the point with the person with the evil eye looking through an optometrist's set of glasses. I kind of went, "This wasn't in Thunderball."
And this somehow results in Spectre getting the nukes.
Yeah, in fact, the original Thunderball plot of airplane eats airplane with nuke inside it made more sense than this.
So is that how the actual Air Force One nuclear codes work? They scan the president's eyes. What if he loses his eyesight? What if Joe Biden loses his eyesight? What happens then?
Well, have you ever seen Demolition Man?
Yes.
They take a pencil and they take his eye out and then they hold it up to the scanner and it goes, boop, yep, launch the nukes.
And then he goes, I'm hungry for some Taco Bell. And then in the UK version he goes, I'm hungry for some Pizza Hut.
Yes. And the next scene after that is him sat in Taco Bell receiving a single Dorito with an olive on it.
Or
in the future
in the
quirky.
UK version it's the Edge, the pizza, which they still make. Welcome to Swadley.
Please drive safely. No one.
No swadding. No swadding in Swadley.
Ah.
Meanwhile,
Ben, we're going to get to see some CGI in a minute.
Meanwhile, in stock footage number 5.
You know what? They actually do this better than the Bond films do.
That's not CGI. That would look like dodgy optical effects.
It might. I don't know.
It does look kind of strange. I don't know.
It still looks better than any of the back projection that Octopussy was doing at the time, but
that's not hard. That's not hard to beat.
No. Yoo-hoo!
Are you swadding? In Swadley, that is forbidden.
Punishment to be delivered.
To be swadded.
Punishment incoming. Punishment received. Justice is served.
I think we've all been there. You're driving along, you're going to work, and then a lady just throws a snake in your car.
Yeah. What else would somebody be doing on a Saturday or Sunday evening?
That used to happen to you every other day, didn't it?
I've died 16 times.
I mean, wouldn't the snake also die, I'd have thought?
No, the snake has to live as part of the sacrifice.
The snake must live. You see, she likes snakes because she's evil, and baddies like snakes.
Oh, she cares about the animals.
Snakes get a bad rap.
They do. You know, I've never met a bad one.
You've never met a bad snake?
No, have you ever met a bad snake?
Have you met a snake?
Yeah, multiple times. We had the animal man at school.
You are from. How many snakes are there in located there? I know it has a gigantic snake population. I mean, you just walk around, just go to work, and oh fuck, snake, hiding in the.
There's more than 3.
I've seen a snake. That's all I have to say.
Well, we used to. You've never seen a snake?
I've seen a snake.
Oh, was it friendly?
It went hiss.
Ooh.
This is like
well, as long as there's no spiders in this movie.
Not the children playing in the sand. I'm not sure what the point of that little cutaway was.
It's to show the dangers of rabies.
Unless the children come back
rabies
somehow.
Rabies will be delivered indiscriminately by air via torpedoes filled with nuclear arms and rabies.
Reminds me of that Greenpeace advert with the plane crashing into the nuclear dome. Seen that?
No, I don't think I have.
It was we're getting into PIF talk already. It's an old Greenpeace advert about where a plane is about to crash into a nuclear dome, and then it cuts to a caption saying, "We cannot let this be." No, it doesn't say that. But it does say something like, "Do we need more nuclear power stations?" And you just want to sort of say to the people who made that advert, well, you know, if a plane crashed into a nuclear power station, it probably wouldn't blow it up.
No.
It wouldn't. Because nuclear domes are made out of lead, concrete, more concrete, and more lead. A plane
and the majority of the domes themselves are like cooling towers rather than the actual, nuclear material.
Yeah, so a plane crashing into the dome would be quite loud. Probably people in the canteen will probably go, "What was that?" And then they just go back to whatever they were doing.
Yeah, playing cards and chasing women. Apparently, those nuclear technicians get pretty rowdy.
They're a right bunch of miscreants. That's what they are.
Oh yeah, well you should see their office parties every year. They set the reactor off for 20 minutes for a laugh. Maybe this will be the year.
Just fuck it, eh? See what happens. they have a little scale. The top one is Chernobyl. The third one down is like 3 Mile Island. Fourth one down is Uh-oh.
Every year they play a game of Last One in the Radiation Chamber's a knob.
So this is, again, I suppose if you're remaking Thunderball, you also have to remake the bits of that film that drag the most, which is the bit where they get the nuke.
Yeah.
I don't know why it has to be this long. We get it. They've got a nuke.
I mean, I suppose it does it better because the previous version didn't have a skull with a camera in it. But I love that cat, though. That is a beautiful kitty.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What is the point of filming Blofeld in these scenes in hidden when we know it's Max von Sydow?
Maybe it was just his style.
I like a bit of mystery. It makes it more exciting.
Who could I be? It's me, Blofeld.
Oh, well, it's me, obviously, but I could be anyone. Ooh.
Ooh. I've been played by 3 different people so far.
I could even be James Bond. You don't know.
It just pulls back its old Sean Connery. Just there.
There's your twist. I'm fairly sure
Connery is Blofeld.
I'm fairly sure Connery said at some point that he'd always wanted to be a villain in a Bond film. That would that would have been interesting, but I suppose it would have fucked everyone's heads a bit.
Well, if the modern marvels of CGI are anything to go by, we can shortly have a Sean Connery as the villain in a Bond movie, any day now. They just have to stitch his face digitally onto the body of some poor body double.
Yeah.
And anything is possible. Oh, great, they're watching Threads.
Spectre has stock footage of a whole library of stock footage of mushroom clouds. I thought that was going to turn into that bit from Austin Powers then, where it showed the White House blowing up. It's going, actually, that was just a clip from the film Independence Day. But the real one will be quite similar.
He just turns to his secretary and says, "Play Threads," and
the
rest of the film is just
play Mushroom Cloud stock footage number 7. No, not
and the rest
not
of the film
number 8.
Just,
number 7.
The UN sat around the table watching Threads.
I thought that was Charles Dance then. Yeah, get our man on the case.
Get us Jimmy Wee Bond man fellow.
Oh,
of course, the British guy tells everybody to pull themselves together.
I forgot he was in this. You know who that is, don't you?
Yeah. Go on.
That's the minister from A Clockwork Orange.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't watched A Clockwork Orange in about 10 years. Blimey.
And he's in A Clockwork Orange, but he also, you probably know him better. You probably know him better as he turns up in the first episode of The Young Ones. He's the guy in the
first episode.
So you remember the nosing around, ding, that
yeah.
sketch?
Oh,
he's the guy who's like,
I don't want you to assault my parrot.
Yeah. That doesn't mean you must seduce my parrot. And then he does a little sort of jig to himself, like, oh, I got it right. Oh, I do mention that you do have to have a degree.
I'm up here in the rafters, because that's what this show's about. Danger!
Yeah. So that's our money penny for this film, I guess.
I was going to be honest. I mean, the majority of the MI crew in this film feel like incredibly pale imitations of the official MI crew. I mean, I really miss Desmond Llewellyn. He should have just popped up randomly, like even if he wasn't invited to film, he's just there somehow. When the actual in-film cue turns up, he just bursts in and goes, "No, not you. We get lost. Hello, Bond. It's me. My turf. Wacky old Q. Here's some trousers that turn into a gun, or something. I don't know. A tin of soup, which is really a knife, or something. I don't know." Anyway, places to go, people to see you in a bit. Bye bye. And he jumps in his hot air balloon and flies. He goes back in his Union Jack hot air balloon. Yes. Around the world in cootie days. It can get a whole 10 miles to the gallon of kerosene. Ow, my spine.
Even sitting down is agony.
I'm in constant pain. Even talking about this is bringing out mouth ulcers.
It just comes out every like, Bond, we need to get you to the Bahamas right away to stop Spectre. Please kill me. What? Kill me now. Take the gun. Shoot.
I'm on every known medication to man. All of them. All the time. Right now. All in me.
The doctor said, just one more glass of Absolut. He told me if you drank another, you'd be dead. Old Grey Eyes is back.
One of the things I noticed in this film as well, which is really annoying me, is it looks like in some scenes he dyed his hair and in some scenes he didn't.
Wow, sack the continuity Toupe, which was a special credit on the film. Toupe
which is bizarre because he's...
Toupe continuity by Bert Berkinson.
Which is really bizarre because it is a toupee and he's been bald since fucking Dr. No, so why he chose to grey himself? You know.
Well, they were originally going to do it. It was the 80s, so maybe they were thinking give Bond a bit of a mohawk, maybe some purple streaks, some highlights.
Get Tina Turner on soundtrack.
Some highlight. Well, that's not going to be for another 4 films yet. But oh, the score's getting jazztastic.
Oh, hello. You've joined us during Never Say Never Again, and it's time for a good old stretch. I don't like the fact that we can't see his hands.
I do. Hijacking nukes, the funky style.
I am blanking as I write this.
Ah, well, this doesn't date the film quite a bit, does it?
No, I could say it was made last week.
And, oh, look, it's Kim Basinger.
Oh, brilliant. How do you say? Is it Basinger, Basinger, Passenger?
Who cares? Everyone always forgets that she's technically a Bond girl.
But if that's the case, then Agent Weng Weng's various squeezes are also Bond girls. So
this music's getting very, very porny.
It is. I feel quite uncomfortable. So, in terms of credibility to the Bond lineage, this film obviously isn't part of the main Bond canon.
No.
Would you class it in line of the other non-Bond films that we have watched during this little marathon?
Well,
or do you think it kind of sits between the two?
Well, generally, this probably has more claim to it than, say, Casino Royale, the Charles Feldman Casino Royale. Mainly because it's that film, even though it had the rights to use the Casino Royale IP, isn't trying to be a Bond film. Whereas this isn't a parody, this isn't a spoof, it's not ironic, it's just trying to be its own Bond film. It's basically fan fiction, if you think about it.
So what you're saying is that this film and For Your Height Only are pretty much on a same level of lineage in terms of...
No, I didn't really say that at all, and I'm not. That's you saying that, not me.
Well, why wouldn't they be?
I didn't realise you were every reporter on from the BBC. So what you're saying is we should definitely bomb Iraq. No, I didn't actually say that. I was actually talking about the NHS. Right, so we should definitely bomb Iraq. That's what. So when you say we should fund the NHS, what you actually mean is we should send Air Force One to Iraq immediately and start bombing them all. I mean, that's the gist of what you said, isn't it? Well, no. Right. So what you actually meant was...
My argument is simple.
Look, he's got a Union Jack pen because he's British because he's got a Union Jack pen. Back Brexit.
Oh, brilliant. My reasoning is simple. If it's not part of the official Bond canon, then it is an unofficial Bond film. And if it is an unofficial Bond film, that is a sliding scale of acceptability.
This I will agree with one thing you said, that this film sort of does fall between two ferns, for lack of a better word, in that it is sort of, it's unofficial technically, but you could watch it alongside the main ones, like we are doing, and, it's not horrendously out of place, apart from the fact that, I suppose having the OG Bond in it probably gives it a little bit more credence than some of the unofficial ones or the parodies, obviously.
So what you're saying is that this film does not get to sit next to For Your Height Only in terms of great unofficial Bond films?
No, yeah, that's pretty much what I said, yeah. Nail on the head.
That's a shame, because, I'm big on Agent Weng Weng, and I really enjoyed seeing The Dragon Lives Again Bond. I reckon that they could have, if they were ever going to do a sequel, they could have brought Weng Weng into this universe quite easily.
I don't know why he's looking at a sexual torture device there, unless that has some relevance later on.
I'll be using you later.
and it'll be using me. Sex.
Ow, my other spine.
Yeah, I had another one installed.
It was to replace the old one, which was only being held together by Bollinger. Buckfast. Absolut vodka.
This Q Gadget scene looks like he's just gone to see like a bloke around the back of a warehouse who sells tellies.
It did, and that was one of the main reasons I don't care much for this universe's Q. It looks like he's turned up at a mechanic's place.
All right,
and
all
he's
right,
like,
Bond.
"Oh, blimey, Bond.
Need a new Ford Cortina, Bond?
Yeah, don't worry about it, Bond. Here, look, I've bought this, right? It's a bottle, but when you smash it, it turns into a knife. Great, isn't it?
Got this, Bond. It's a bottle, right? You open it, you drink out of it, and then what happens? You get pissed. That's what happens.
It's great. I like the sound of that.
I call it cider.
It'll never catch on.
Tell me more about this. Does air quotes cider?
I just imagine that he wouldn't have got on with Desmond Llewellyn's Q at all. Because he'd have been like, I've invented a biscuit that turns into a life raft. And this other bloke would have been like, I've invented the multicolour pen. You can have 12 colours, you just click which one you want.
I've invented a Nokia. Well, I suppose in 1983 that would have been quite amazing.
Useless! I can't work with this. I'm going to go and get in my jam raft.
We're in the Bahamas after, 2 hours?
Yay! This film is quite slow, isn't it?
Yeah. Not as slow as Thunderball, but still.
We're 44 minutes in, roughly.
You're 44 years old.
And it only feels like 3 years.
Oh, look, it's
great.
It's a Mr. Bean.
It's Blackadder, brilliant.
Does now take this down. Does Octopussy have a Mr. Bean?
No, it does not.
No, does Weng Weng have a Mr. Bean? Exactly.
No, but it does have a Mr. Giant.
That's even better. Hey, fun fact. This is Rowan Atkinson's feature debut.
Really?
Yeah. It's just a shame, really, that this came at the time when it did, because otherwise you could have had a crossover between Bond and Johnny English.
Very true. Very true. I mean, one of the things that does bother me about this is his rather strange choice to give his character a speech impediment.
Well, I don't know. I guess they just thought, it's Rowan Atkinson, do funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether funny is just going sure at the end of everything.
But
I
think he should have done it like just in the voice of Mr. Bean. You know the odd times in Mr. Bean when he talks.
Yeah,
just like come on, go.
Hello,
Mr. Bond. Oh, so
this way.
So Saunders, Spectre have got the nukes. They're going to let them off in 48 hours. What can we do? Oh.
Yes.
Then he falls up. Then he falls into the boat. Boat blows up.
I'll ask Teddy. don't know.
That would have been so much better. Just Bond and Mr. Bean together at last.
I'd have just preferred him to do a straight Blackadder. You know what I mean?
What,
Bond, you're as useless as 00 can be.
Just turn up and just be a complete dick to him.
Yes.
You're about as useless as a useless thing that came from the planet Useless.
Oh God, you've put me with him, haven't you?
Don't worry, I'm sending my number 2 agent to help you, Bond. Don't worry, James, I've got a cunning plan to get us out of this.
Bond, you wouldn't know a cunning plan if it came up to you dancing naked, painted purple, shouting, "Subtle plans are here again."
She was quite excited about that.
Sex. You, me, tonight, now, sex. Yes.
I mean,
no?
We've all been there, lads.
Sex.
I mean, you're just having a drink, and then suddenly a woman on a jet ski just comes running into your arms.
Sex. Tonight. You, me, tonight.
It's just Dan's mind
Hey.
broken.
Sex. Me. Tonight.
What
Absolut vodka.
What happened to your Sean voice? It's gone up by about 7 semitones.
It's because when he drinks Absolut vodka.
He's not. He's drinking his vodka martini. I suppose he could have made it with Absolut.
Well, this film is sponsored by it, so... When I'm not enjoying an Absolut vodka, I drink Pepsi. Pepsi, the taste of a new generation. Ow, my spine.
Now, for this film, I'll happily do it, but I want to get my chest hair out, visible on camera, as much as humanly possible. About 80-90% of screen time.
I've just had it inserted. It's very nice. Very nice.
He does show his chest hair a lot in this film.
He does. Maybe he'd been working out or something.
Okay, Sean, that was a great take, but for this next scene, could you be hairier?
Why, certainly. It just grows out like the fucking Wolfman. This is another odd one for a Bond film that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, is the fact that they actually, show the sex scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I guess they just felt, oh, well, this isn't your dad's Bond film.
We show the penetration. I didn't need to see Sean Connery plough.
Is it me, or did the quality of the film change when we jumped to the sex?
It did. It's because they actually got Bob Guccione in to shoot them. That's a nice edit. I like that. That's some nice directional choices going on there.
It's implying that the fish are horrible perverts.
Yes.
And of course,
it's also implying that
no 80s sex scene would be complete without a very loud, screeching saxophone over the top of it.
I feel strangely at home.
Well, every time you have sex, of course, you always have a saxophone player on hand in the corner.
Oh, no. My penis actually just makes saxophone noises.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, my penis turns into a saxophone. It just
yes, but then how would I enjoy the art of lovemaking, Ben? It's a faulted system.
Yeah, but a saxophone is... I think we can generally agree a saxophone is probably bigger than your penis, isn't it? So if anything, you should be quite pleased about that. Really? If anything, it should add to it.
Now, you see, this is the thing. I was, for a second, when you said that my penis turns into a saxophone, I thought it would change to scale. And I was quite disappointed with the results, I'll be honest with you.
No, an actual saxophone, real size.
Oh, wow. I think it would make the art of lovemaking quite difficult, because a saxophone, whilst phallic, is not the easiest thing to place inside a vagina.
I mean...
I also imagine the sound quality would be distinctly dampened.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of the horn section, it'd be quite good, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, it's better than, I don't know, turning into a flute or something, but...
You say that, but you don't know until you tried. Oh, no, it's Jaws the shark.
Oh, Bond versus Jaws. Place bets now.
Well,
my money's on the shark because Bond's like 900 years old. He's
fought sharks before. I think I told that story, didn't I, in the Thunderball commentary about Sean Connery actually coming within like 2 inches close to a shark and jumping out of the pool for dear life. So I wonder if that was another...
I don't think you did.
No, I think I did. When they were filming the bit where they trap him in the swimming pool and the sharks come, and there was a shot where Sean Connery is actually quite close to the real shark, and he jumped out of the pool raging because he didn't know that would happen. I wonder if that was part of his contract for this. Like, if you get me to that fucking shark, everyone on the crew dies.
I will end you all.
Including the shark. I will feed you to the shark.
Well, in fact, he didn't veto the shark. He just vetoed the idea of being close to the shark.
Well, I mean, obviously that's... Uh-oh. That's a rubbish shark anyway.
Oh, my breathing apparatus.
I'm rooting for the shark.
Yeah, I'm hoping he eats Randy Grandpa. It'll shorten the film down quite a bit.
Whoa.
You know, Shark Eats Bond, For Your Eyes Only theme plays, end credits, done.
It's a shame we're not watching this in 3D.
Ah, that'd be great. Get it converted to red-blue. They've even bothered to sort of do a knockoff Jawsy theme.
I think that isn't that a rule when you have sharks in a film? Your music has to be extremely derivative of the Jaws music, or the BBFC won't allow it to be put in the film.
Yeah, it's one of the few weird sort of twists they have in the BBFC guidebook lines is that any film that doesn't utilise the Jaws style theme music when shooting a shark scene instantly gets an R18 rating and can only be sold in sex shops. Apparently it's because it's deviant.
Because it's just disrespectful to, John Williams.
Well, yeah, Did he just drop a grenade down there for the shark?
He's gonna blow the sharks to kingdom come.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, she's got a bite. I hope it isn't a sex offender.
Oh, I've already got 3 of those. just pan across to the back of a boat. No. Just pan across to the back of a boat. Oh, now then.
Well, hello, how's it going? Now then, settle down. Jingle jangle. One of my favourite things about travelling the world is seeing the masked gang bands.
Ah, yes, the famous gang. Uh-oh. You should be dead. I mean, the dungarees look actually kind of suits him. Maybe he should just do that for the whole film.
See, this is another small tell that you know that you're not watching an actual Bond film, because I don't think you'd get either Connery or Moore in a real Bond film wearing dungarees.
Well, give it time. Wouldn't you like to see that? Wouldn't you like to see 95-year-old Roger Moore, pair of dungarees, just flapping about?
Yeah, just,
Cool, blimey,
It's a very odd shot.
I've come to stop Spectre, Wallaby. It's my Australian. Hope everyone enjoyed it.
That was Ben's Australian accent. Ben's other accents are available as part of paid DLC, available for $29.99 in the Nintendo eShop.
Oh, I forgot that he's also in dungarees in this scene. I wonder if that was part of Connery's creative control stipulations. I want
to see my chest hair in every scene.
I demand to be in a pair of dungarees. But Sean, in this scene, you're in a volcano. Do it!
Dungarees!
Dungarees, then sex. That's what the contract's
I want to wear the dungarees whilst I have sex. But Sean, it doesn't work that way. Dungarees during sex.
Well, that's what I always like to do after fishing for ravenous fish that kill you is have very aggressive sex with a hairy man.
Bond, I love you, and you only smell slightly of trout.
Hello, it's me, Jonathan English.
What are you doing? I'm trying to pork this lovely lady.
What are you doing? I'm trying to bang her, mate.
Give me 5 minutes or hurry up. I'm mid go. I've had 2 Viagra. I've got 3 hours left.
You knew a tremendous amount then about the response time on Viagra.
I did. It's because I'm a serial Viagra taker. I never have sex. I just take it for fun. You know,
that's your drug, is it?
Yeah, you know, you take a few, you wander around the house for a bit.
They go straight back to sex. Oh no! The room just blew up.
Oh,
Gee.
Terrorist attack.
Gee, sucks. Anyway. What was that you were...
Bond, what are you doing?
You were saying something... Speaking of blowing...
Bond, it looks like a terrorist atrocity has occurred across the street. Never mind. 2.5 hours, mate.
I'll sort it. One finger...
Bond, weren't your shoes in that hotel room? My shoes? Oh, bollocks.
The rest of the film is just him in complete morbid pain. Not the shoes.
The rest of the film is him in a full suit but always barefoot. Every single scene. Like, he couldn't afford any more shoes. So he just barefoot in every scene.
The MI6 budget in this film, well, it was the Thatcher government, you know, times were cutting hard, a lot of cut corners being cut. They couldn't afford to spend something on a luxury like shoes.
Halfway through the film, you see him rooting through the rubbish, and then in the next scene, he's wearing bread bags on his feet.
Oh, there's our Felix Leiter for this film.
Ah. You use computers. What are they?
What the fuck are you talking about? It's this thing where you can go online and you can play Tetris and see ladies with their bits out. Go on.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You lunatic.
There's a reason I vote Conservative.
Can it get space pinball? What's that pinball game called that was on every version of Windows in the early 2000s?
Oh, I think it was called Space Pinball.
Well, I don't... Or Astro Pinball or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
That's my jam. I love that. Go on, get the flippers. Go, Mr. Gunn. I love this game.
Have you ever been on miniclip.com? It's really good.
That is a funky architecture.
Oh, brilliant. It's now turned into Rear Window.
Good thing I have the Hubble telescope on hand. So I can see every atom on her leg. While she does some weird voodoo dance. While she does some weird voodoo dance.
The joys of Blu-ray technology.
Now I can perv on ladies from 5,000 miles away.
In high definition.
Domino, that's a fucking stupid name, isn't it? What next, Chip?
Why doesn't she just be called Lego Mousetrap?
What next? What's her dad called? Buckaroo?
Her mum was known as Operation Tiddlywinks.
I'm sure you will, Bond. I'm sure you will check her out. This was... Yeah, so this was before... Yeah, this was before Batman. Batman was 89, so... She wouldn't have been that famous then, really, would she? At the time.
No.
I think... I was reading that she said that she wasn't going to do it because she was... At the time, she wanted to be known as a serious actress, and then she just said, fuck it, and did this. Maybe this was one of the films that actually helped her be a sort of superstar.
Could well have been. I mean, you know, it's serious cred to be in a Bond film, even if it's not a real one.
Yeah. She was very annoying in Batman. She screamed a lot.
You know what? I haven't seen the Tim Burton Batman film in 20 years.
And you're 17 years old, so how does that work?
I know, it's insane, isn't it? They used to project it inside the womb.
You haven't seen it in 20 years?
Yeah.
I saw it at the cinema last year.
Is it good?
It's a great film. It's not. I don't know if it's a very good Batman film, but it's a good film to just look at and just enjoy the Tim Burton-y goodness and just watch Jack Nicholson be his crazy ad-libbing self. It's probably not a good film if you're. It's probably not a good film if you're into Batman very much, but it's a fun romp.
Well, you've heard Keaton's Batman is supposed to be coming back for the new Flash movie, haven't you?
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm sure it'll be as good as that sounds. She was. I'll tell you what. I liked Kim Basinger, and she was very funny in Wayne's World 2. Even if it's
that's another one I haven't seen in about 15 to 20 years.
Even if it's it's a bit of an extended cameo, but she's still quite funny in it.
Yeah.
Just in a sort of playing a sort of parody of her sort of typical role, like parody of like a seductress sort of thing, trying to seduce Garth. It's quite funny.
I watched the original Wayne's World about 5 years ago, but
God, I love Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Had it on video. Used to watch it all the time.
I hear it's excellent. Party on.
Well, I mean, naturally, when an elderly man just comes up to you and starts massaging you. Oh wait, is he pretending he works there? Maybe that's it.
Yes.
The M stands for motherfucker.
You think I'm using baby oil? This is still my urine sample.
Mixed
kind of my thing.
With a bit of Absolut mixed in for good measure.
Oh yes.
It's like his version of Sex Panther.
Works 90% of the time, 60% of the time, 100% of the time.
That's not a cap she's wearing. That's her actual hair.
It's just perfectly put in.
Fun fact.
I'm going to say he's not a masseuse.
He's just like poking her back with his index finger. This is how you do it, right?
I'm glad that it's his finger. I'm glad that it's his finger.
Dan, that's naughty. That's a naughty joke. Kids are watching this.
I'd like to welcome all of the 11-year-old Fortnite fans who have tuned in to listen to our comedy dining experience for the film Never Say Never.
I mean, it's not that hard to massage, is it?
No, you just sort of rub the bits.
It's not. It's not. All this massage therapy stuff, learning how to, it's bollocks. Just rub your hands, mate.
Yeah.
Put
your hands on whoever you're rubbing and get rubbing.
This is my rewrite of the scene in Pulp Fiction where they talk about John Travolta and Sam Jackson talk about foot massages. This is my rewrite of that scene. Mate, there's just nothing to it. You just put your hands on and put your hands on the bum, even if you're a creepy old man. That's a strange face he's pulling.
My tendons.
That's a strange face he's pulling as he's molesting a young Kim Basinger.
It is. It's. I feel quite uncomfortable. In many ways, I am kind of glad that this is Randy Grandpa's last hurrah. The
IMDb trivia page has a very odd bit of speculation in it at one point. It says that so Sean Connery and Kim Basinger both knew the actress Natalie Wood, who, if you know your history, she was she died on the boat shortly before this, a few years before this film came out, and is it Robert Wagner she was married to, and the rumour was that Robert Wagner murdered her. And the IMDb the trivia page says Sean Connery and Kim Basinger would probably have talked about and speculated about Natalie Wood's death, and it's like, well, you don't know they did. Well,
I mean, that being said, though, Ben, in our IMDb trivia, it does list that we regularly talk about the Zodiac Killer. So,
well, they found the Zodiac Killer. He's dead. See, the problem there.
Well, yeah.
You know what the problem there is, Dan. They were looking for someone who's alive, but they didn't. They found a dead person. So
yeah, that'll be
up.
Yeah, that'll be a problem. I mean, the big takeaway that I found was that they actually arrested the Zodiac Killer for a parking violation about a year before he died. And they could have pressed him for more information and probably found out he was the Zodiac Killer, but they just let him go instead.
Hello, it's me, Q, the Zodiac Killer. It was me all along. Woo!
Woohoo! That's how they never caught me. I used my jam trousers.
I use my umbrella.
Made the crime scene very sticky.
I use my umbrella that shoots Tic Tacs. I don't know how it worked. It did.
I set loose the dogs that shoot bees out of their mouths.
This is quite a funny little bit with the guy in the cupboard.
Wasted opportunity. They should have left him until after the end credits and then had him cut back and him still stood there.
Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, that would have been like that would have been like in Airplane with the guy in the taxi.
Yes,
I'll give him 20 more minutes, but that's it.
The old stomping ground. Shall I play blackjack? Poker? Billiards? No, I need Gallagher in my life.
You are, of course, preempting the scene of... did he just put a gun in the ice bucket?
Yes, he did. I need my bullets to be cold, like my victims.
Revenge is a dish best served cold. No, wait, that's not dish, that's pasta. Sorry, my bad.
Revenge is a dish best served with a bullet through the stomach.
Generally speaking. Now, I
like to shoot people.
Now, guess who the fight supervisor was on this film? I really hope this is true. I'll have to.
Was it Chuck Norris?
You're not far off.
Really?
You're not far off. I'll have to look in the credit when the credits are on the end. I'll have to look because I don't know if this is true, but this is what I heard, that the fight supervisor on this film was a very young Steven Seagal.
Seagal was my second call. I was going to go Seagal, and if that didn't work, I was going to throw the off chance of it being, I don't know, somebody like Dolph Lundgren or something.
You're on the right sort of lines when you said Chuck Norris, but yeah, I mean that must have been strange. I wonder what's it. And this is so bizarre. It's very 80s though, isn't it? Just like it's I kind of like it in a way. It's very, very surreal. Just like you've got this all these fancy people in evening wear, all millionaires and billionaires, and they're all sitting around going, "Oh, I got the high score on Pac-Man. Oh, watch out!"
Balls to craps. I want to play Dig Dog. Which they actually have.
Is that his attempt at seduction? I've got the high score on Berserk. Does Largo have the high score on Berserk? I think not.
I have an advanced copy of Cruisin' USA. Does Largo have an advanced copy of Cruisin' USA?
It just pans across to Largo. He's playing Outrun, where they actually have the physical car. He's going, woohoo! Look at this.
I managed to get through the entire first 3 levels of Mickey's Wild Adventure without losing a single life.
It's fun. It's funny because Berry Arcade Club is exactly like this. It's just full of people.
Really?
It's just full of people in evening wear. Can't turn up unless you wear a tuxedo. But yeah,
do they have regular nights where they play a game where they have to turn countries blue or red, and you get electrocuted the more that you lose?
It's like Risk. But yeah, like I was saying, it's just a very strange bit of 80s era filmmaking, that just opening the door in this casino to reveal, Bob's Arcade.
I like to think that they were trying to predict the future. Yes, in the year 2020, all gambling opportunities will be replaced purely by Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
I just can't picture Bond with his martini and his tuxedo, sat in a corner playing Breakout with a little
feeding
with a little baggie full of 50p's.
Feeding coins into the Simpsons arcade machine. I like to play as Homer.
Mom, can I have some more? I've given you enough already, but I want more.
No, James, you've already spent £16.
I want more though. Can I ask Dad for some?
Can I have £1 worth of 2p pieces so I can play that machine where you put the 2p pieces in the machine and it knocks more 2p pieces out?
Bond would probably just fucking boot it like some people do. Oh, it doesn't appear to be working. Not fucking working. Ah, look, 6p.
Oh, bollocks.
Mother, I got 6p.
I'm going to need £2 worth of 2 pences. There's a backer tin with a tenner sellotape to it, and I think I've got a really good chance of getting it.
Before the wizard, there was Never Say Never Again.
Has anybody ever seen the movie Tron?
What year was Tron out?
I think Tron was post this. Hang on, I shall ask my friend. Hey Google, what year did Tron release?
According to Wikipedia,
Google doesn't know.
Oh God! No, it started reading an article about Trump's inauguration because it misheard Tron for Trump.
Oh my God! Google's got a far right agenda. It's true.
Sure, Dan. I will give you the information. You beta male cook.
Hey Google, what's the quickest way to the shops? Do you mean down with the blacks? No, that's not what I meant.
Hey Google, how do I get a stain out of the trunk of my car? Donald Trump was assassinated in 1964 and replaced with a clone double.
He was replaced by Paul McCartney. And I just like the idea of Largo as well, having a special room in this casino where you can play fucking war games.
Yes.
I mean, I suppose it'd be quite good if arcades in the 80s could have powerful holograms that could do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only now that we're getting hologram ABBA that the future really seems that much more real,
He's cheating. Mom, he's beating me. I don't like it. It's not fair.
I learned, if you put in the Konami code into this, you get 16 more nuclear bombs.
If you press up, up, down, down, left, left, select, Kim Basinger takes her top off. my mate Darren in year 2 said that.
Game Shark, mate. Beat you, mate. Everybody remembers Game Shark and Game Genie. No one remembers Exploder, which was easily one of the more recognisable cheat cartridge brands in the UK.
It's not so much the fact... I can sort of deal with a scene of Bond playing a game against someone. What makes it surreal for me is the setting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The evening wear, casino time. It's very incongruous.
But then what would be more surreal? Bond playing, digital Risk in a luxury manor house, or Bond in some arcade in Rill.
Can you get
fighting off chain smokers?
Can you get an emulation of this game? Is it on is it on ROMs.com or something like that? I'd quite like to play it, even though I don't understand the fucking rules of what they're meant to do.
The rules are very simple. You just shoot at the walls, and then if everything turns your colour, you win.
Bond does that thing where he just turns it off before he loses. Ha! It doesn't count.
Try again. Not playing now, going home. I win.
Well, Mr. Bond, you may have beat me at that. But tell me, how good are you at Mario Party? Bagsy Yoshi. Oh, no.
We're putting bonus stars on, right?
Oh, no, Bumper Balls. I hate this one.
Ah. Oh, no, it's that one where you have to grind your palm against the control stick to get the boo to go away whilst you're lighting up a little light. I always hated that one. All the skin is missing from my hand.
My frail bones won't be able to handle that.
Ow, my palms.
I was literally doing that in Best of 3.
But I get to choose the game. We're playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
For some reason, I was doing the theme music to the video game Incredible Crisis on the PS1. I think I was trying to go for the impression that I get by the Mighty Boss Tones, and I got my Scar songs mixed up.
Oh no, they're playing for the world.
Not the world. That's like the whole world.
Yes. The whole world.
The world? That's in the world.
That's almost as big as the world.
What they don't know is this is actually hooked up to a real missile defense system, and they're actually just nuking countries left, right, and centre in real life.
This is actually an early prototype for the Nintendo DS.
This is a beta, is it?
Yes. Took a few years to develop. They decided against the idea of electrocuting players for bad behaviour. There was also something about a fire risk.
You can make a good creepypasta from this game. I found a copy of Domination at a garage sale. An old man sold it to me, and then the old man disappeared, and then a skeleton popped out, and all my clothes fell off. The end.
I was exploring an abandoned millionaire's luxury mansion, and I found this tabletop arcade game called Domination. It was very strange, and as I was playing through the game, a creepy man appeared on the screen with very matted chest hair, and he smelt like fish and was drinking Absolut vodka, and then a skeleton popped out. But the skeleton was actually the creepy man with the chest hair.
I thought it was a skeleton, but it was actually just an elderly Scottish man.
He kept saying, "Get your hands off my Absolute." I don't know what that means.
They should have played more games.
They should have. I really wanted them to play Super Mario The Lost Levels.
Yeah.
But...
I don't like that game.
No, me neither. It's a pain in the arse. What I do like, though, is playing some Mario Kart 64.
Bagsy Wario. Oh, fuck.
Bagsy Shy Guy.
Q, he used the blue shell. What do I do?
It's very simple, Bond. Jump at the exact frame that the shell is going to crash into you. You'll jump past it and the shell will do another lap.
So that was his reward for playing Laser Quest 5000.
I'm going to be honest, I would have preferred 325k. Let's be honest here.
They are not saying those things. I mean, they are saying them, but not on the day.
No, this is ADR'd out the wazoo.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I think
dancing.
The direction here looks a lot nicer than Octopussy.
Yeah, because it's just it's not
it's more visual storytelling. It's telling you
nice cameo from
how
the Queen.
Things are through the visuals.
Nice cameo from the Queen Mother there.
Oh yes, looking very well. Yes, they do.
There's Largo by way of Jerry Lewis.
By the way, of Tommy Wiseau.
Oh.
Oh, hello there.
Not too far off.
Mr. Bond. Mr. Bond, you dance fantastic with my girl.
What we don't know, of course, is that Largo went on to be the villain in the 1989 film The Wizard, starring Fred Savage. His love of video games let him down once again.
Fred Savage, who was best known for... You said I'd have one dance with her. That's not a dance. I want my money.
I'd love to have her for lunch.
Are you a cannibal? I don't get on with cannibals.
I was doing an innuendo, you silly fool. You silly Frenchman. Or wherever you're from.
I don't like the cut of your jib. Bye-bye.
You got me on Discord, yes?
I'll add you to my Habbo hotel, but you're not going into my room.
Yeah, so I see what you mean. This bit should have been like just right after the credits.
Yeah, he didn't need to go and pick it back up. He could have literally just cut to him still in the cupboard, just like...
he's covered in cobwebs.
Yes. Cuts to the modern day, he's just a skeleton. Nobody's bothered to go in that cupboard for 30 years.
And then a fat skeleton popped out. Holding a cigarette lighter.
I will eat an apple.
Are you doing Bond's internal monologue?
Yes.
Golden delicious, my favourite. I'll just throw it in the air like a. I'll just throw it in the air like a twat while I go up this MC Escher staircase.
Stairs. Apple stairs.
Do you like my
sexy lady?
Do you like my staircase? They were designed by MC Escher.
It goes to infinity, you know. The building never stops.
The building is forever, like my hair.
Stairs all the way up. Stairs all the way down.
Is Bond having a bad acid trip? Stairs down, stairs up, stairs
Who drugged?
down. Stairs everywhere. Stairs nowhere. Stairs on the ground. Stairs on the ceiling. Stairs outside. Stairs inside. Stairs everywhere. No stairs. Stairs never stop. Stairs never stop. Stairs never stop. Stairs never...
Who drugged my apples?
That is highly offensive to Hindus there.
Very much so, but...
Desecrating their holy idol with... Desecrating their holy idol with a golden delicious. Maybe it was a...
Everybody knows that Bond...
Maybe it was a dig at Octopussy.
Could well be. Why not? Why not? Everybody knows that Bond is a jazz apples man. Oh, no! I can't think of a drowning pun, but... Stairs. Dead person. Stairs. Wonder if I can get my apple back. Stairs. Dead person.
Those stairs are making me sick. They're just... They're very oddly designed. Geocentric stairs. The music in this is like you'd hear in, like, I don't know, Magnum P.I. or something, or NYPD Blue, not so much a Bond film.
It is, and I very much dislike the fact that it just basically keeps going do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
That's okay. It's silly car chase time.
Night bike. We've got to stop.
Bond to night bike.
It's just sat. He's just riding like a Bond bike. Bond.
Well, he's humming that to himself.
Yes.
Oh, he's doing his own.
Ow, my shins! Ow, my side!
Wow, I'm sure Sean Connery did that in real life.
Yes. 112-year-old Sean Connery. Ow, my spine. Ow, my hips.
Ow, his spine.
Ow, my bollocks.
That.
Ow, 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 ow,
Oh my god. And back to Bond.
Ow, my hips.
And back to Chase.
So, how much did Sean Connery's stunt double get paid to basically be him in this film?
Well, I'm hoping he got a higher wage than Sean Connery, considering he's in the film more.
Yeah. You know,
that's another thing.
Overtime here.
That's another thing that this film and the official films have in common at this point. The stunt doubles get more screen time than the actual actors.
I'm starting to get excited for the idea of actually having a Bond who isn't 150 years old at this point. You know, when Timbo Dalton comes in, when wee Timmy Dalton, when,
as we call him because we're friends, you see.
Yeah, me and Timbo Dalton, you know, we go way back. But when Timbo Dalton comes in and rejuvenates the franchise, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good.
Ah, I tricked you. You thought I was in front of you now, but actually I don't quite know what's happening. It's in this chase. It's very weirdly edited.
Guarantee you, if this was a Moore film, this would have entirely been back projected. We'd have just got head and shoulder shots of him sat on a bike.
Yeah, a back projection. It's not even a back projection of the actual streets they're in. It's a back projection of Cairo,
a cafe.
Cafe. It's a back projection of the film Carry On Cowboy, just playing in the background.
It's a back projection of London Zoo.
See what I mean about the music? It's very you got the bongo player going crazy there.
It's jazzy.
And the I keep expecting just a caption like, Part 2 coming up, 7 o'clock on ABC.
How's Bond going to get out of this one?
Magnum
Tune in next week, Bond heads.
Magnum JB. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Well, that just furrows my eyebrows.
I can't ride a motorcycle.
Whoa. And Bond would be dead.
Ow, my chest.
I mean, he should die.
Ow, my knees.
He should have died at the
Ow, my
start
ankles.
during that 3-hour fight in the health clinic, but
Yes.
just clotheslined him.
I want to know what her trousers are made out of.
Fatima,
Are they? Is it
why are you dressed?
bin liners?
Why are you dressed as a pirate? But I don't want to wear.
I'm an 80s pirate.
Fatima just goes, but I don't want to wear the puffy shirt.
But I don't want to wear the puffy shirt.
I have a pop figure of Jerry Seinfeld in the puffy shirt.
Ooh, very nice.
I insisted on that one.
There are some where there are exceptions.
Well, that just creases my socks. My very, very long socks. I mean, seriously, they're massive. Look at them.
See, his toupe's gone, died again.
Well, it's like a chameleon. It changes colour based on its surroundings.
When it's scared, it turns red. He has to feed it sugar cubes every half an hour.
Well, with him going into there was this girl in Philadelphia. It was a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right here, tell you how I became the Fresh Prince of Buckingham.
Bond, I want you to write a note that says that my vagina is the best vagina your cock has ever taken. Why would you want that? I don't know.
Yeah, why does she want that?
Bragging rights?
What's she going to do, frame it?
I don't know. But yeah, this is the thing. What claim is that?
Sell it on eBay, when eBay gets invented.
It's because I'm going to shoot you and then tell people that I made a 112-year-old man very happy.
I mean,
what?
It's not really that big a claim if she told people she shagged James Bond, because it's like everyone shagged James Bond. That's not that special. She doesn't need...
Yeah, well, she's asking... What she's asking for is for him to write that not only did she shag him, but that she was the best shag he ever had.
Is she going to sell it?
This is what I'm talking about. This is the...
He kills her with the pen.
This is the rubbish death. Yeah, but the pen doesn't actually kill her straight away, and you go, okay, fair enough. And then it ends like that really funny film where the guy pulls the gun out and just blows him up. Oh, balls. I win!
Oh, so is he going to say... I'm surprised he didn't say something about how, well, you know what's mightier than the sword. Or he could have said... Or he could have said... Oh, the writing's on the wall.
Or he could have said, bollocks, blow up, blow up.
Well, no, because in the actual film, then he just says not perfected yet in a callback to the Q scene. Should have made a pun. Or he could have said, that's a penalty for wearing terrible trousers.
Well, it looks like my next writing has just blown up.
Well, that's the right stuff. Right stuff. Right stuff. Right. Meanwhile, in my vest...
I'll have to take a memo.
I demand to do the rest of the film in my vest and pants on a bike. Why, Sean? I demand it!
I don't like shoes anymore.
I'm Sean Connery. I'm the Highlander. I don't think you've made those films yet, Sean. Do it!
I'm not wearing shoes anymore.
Or trousers or shirts.
Or pants.
Or pants. The film's pant budget is now slashed.
I'm going to take my toupee off. I don't like it
It's
anymore.
in the call sheet. Pants budget. Toupee budget. 20,000.
I want an Elton John wig.
20,000 guineas. I feel like the film sort of loses something slightly when Fatima dies, because she was a fun villain. She was fun presence.
Yeah.
And they make the mistake. A lot of Bond films do this. They make the mistake of killing the interesting villains like halfway through, and then
Pretty early in.
Yeah, that just doesn't leave you with a lot of like, you know. It's like in Live and Let Die
I
when
think the biggest problem
they use very little of Baron Samedi, who's a much better villain than Kananga was.
No, absolutely. I think the biggest problem that this film has for me is just that it feels like a bit of, and this is going to be a rubbish insult for Bond films in particular, but it just feels a bit like an aimless script. Like, I know what the point of the beats are, you know, Bond has to go and stop a villain who has seized some nuclear weapons for Spectre, but it just feels really aimless in the sense of a lot of the scenes that we're seeing don't need to be seen, if you know what I mean. You could have quite easily have chopped out most of this, and you wouldn't really be missing anything.
Maybe your problem's just with the fact that it's just a flaw with the actual story, like the Thunderball story.
I feel like maybe if this film was an hour and 45, or even, you know, an hour and 30, it didn't need to be a 2-hour long film.
Sean looks comfortable for the first time in the film, wearing his old man dressing gown.
I'm wearing this for the rest of the film.
Looks like he's just come back off the set of...
Hi. Oh, hi, Bond. What makes you say that?
Yeah, they should have had either Fatima as the main villain or have Snydauer as Blofeld come in at this bit. Because I'm not too impressed with Klaus, the guy playing Largo.
No, he's a bit of a nothing baddie. He doesn't really do very much.
No, he just sits around and plays Gallagher all day.
Yeah. He looks like a tech startup guy from the 80s rather than an actual evil villain. I can imagine this person trying to sell me Dell computers.
This is the baddie room. This is where men in the background press buttons and things happen on a screen and numbers appear.
He gets crazy sometimes. The other night we played Digital Kaplunk. We ended up killing 4 men. It's crazy, people.
Sorry about that. I'm allergic to Scottish men's chest hair. That's why I keep sneezing.
Brings me out in a horrific rash. An horrific but aroused rash.
The best kind.
Let's see. Okay, evil? Yes. Evil? Yes. Evil?
Well, they certainly look like those screens are evil. Tears of Valor.
Oh, shoo. I remember you. I danced with you.
I remember you.
We nearly had sex.
You're the one who can't dance.
How does it feel to not be able to dance?
Maybe that's one of my favourite songs was written about you. I can't dance. I can't sing. Love that song.
Oh, yeah, Sean Connery's Bond would definitely be a Phil Collins fan.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Maybe not Sean Connery's Bond. Maybe Roger's Bond definitely would.
Oh, yeah. Have you heard about this new band? They're called Genesis. Very good.
Now, Genesis would be too hardcore for Rog. He'd sort of lapse into a Patrick Bateman impression while talking about them. Their early work was too new wave for me, but this is my favourite. An aching ballad that really speaks to the heart.
Bollinger? No, thank you. Shame. Genesis's career started in the early 1970s.
Under the tutelage of a Mr. Peter Gabriel.
His solo works a little bit strange, but I'm sure you'll warm to it eventually.
It's a little strange, but Sledgehammer is a bit of a banger. Largo's hobbies are...
There's a Willy on there.
Largo's hobbies are video games, racist mannequins, and being European. Those are
two
his
hobbies that I can get on
Those
with.
are his free interests. Oh, and perving on his own girlfriend via two-way mirrors.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
While a very, very porny soundtrack plays. That's slap bass.
Please do not give Sean Connery any more incentive to be a horny, randy old man.
They cut that out. It just cuts to the hairy man ass. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow. He's a very clean old man.
That's what Bill Hicks's routine was about. He was talking about this scene. They cut out all the sex. They leave in the hairy ass. Ding, 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 ding. Wow, wow, wow. Let's call this one Nurses in Heat. Great, get a close-up. Wow, wow, wow. Let's call this one Waitress Daisy Chain. Great, film my butt. Wow, wow. Oh, alarm, that means bad.
Right, let's see if I can get Habbo Hotel on here. I don't know why he chose to have her dance to such porny music.
Well, he's a very odd man. He has very eclectic interests.
He's European.
Does our Largo? Oh, he's European. That means bad.
Yeah. As a member of the Empire, anybody who's not from here is bad. Do you not understand the rules of being British, Ben?
Set the time machine back to 1501. That's what he appeared to be doing. Ah, yes, one of the...
Hey, Bond, you better back up. If you don't back up, we're not going to have enough room to get up to 88 miles an hour. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
That axe has the same colour as the hammers in Pink Floyd The Wall. Clearly an intentional reference. Clearly.
That was one thing I didn't understand about this scene, actually. He smashes all the two-way mirrors, but he should know which two-way mirror is the one that he should be smashing.
Yeah, considering he spends 23 hours a day looking through it.
Yeah. Telegram from Bond, sir. He says, "Don't rescue me. Lots of toddy. More Bollinger. Send Absolut vodka. Love, Bond."
Ah, so basically, the same telegram he sends every week then. Fair enough.
Well, yes, sir. Jolly good.
Meanwhile, in a Hammer film...
The film now approaches... Yes, it's looking good. As the film slowly approaches its slow final act. Slowly.
Bond now dressed as a headmaster.
Looking very good. In all two-tone grey and yellow. Perfect combination.
Oh, is this where he sells Kim Basinger to the white slavers or whatever?
Yes. Yes, he does. That's a very creepy look. Why does everybody look so sweaty?
Originally, that scene lasted for 15 minutes.
In the director's cut.
In the Kirshner cut.
They occasionally intersperse shots from Rocky Horror Picture Show of the Brad, Janet, Dr. Scott.
Rocky. This is for my mirrors. My beautiful mirrors.
The biggest gummy bear in the world. And it is mine now.
Watch now, that's going to be a statue of some very revered religious figure, and you're going to get religious groups coming to bomb you.
Bold of you to assume religious groups would bomb me when they could forgive me and we'd be on an even sort of keel, it'd be alright.
Ah, see, why can't everyone just think like you?
Well, this is it, you don't have to be malicious when somebody's nasty. I mean, doesn't half of those religions teach that you should love?
No.
Oh.
Have you been to church?
The wrong end.
Have you not been to church? I thought your family was religious. Religion is not about loving, it's about smashing things.
I did go to one service once where it was an hour talking about how Jesus died for our sins and how we should love each other and, you know, try and make the world a better place, because without love and compassion in the world, we end up falling to sin and everything's horrible. And it was a very poignant thing, and it really won a lot of people over right up until the last 5 minutes when they started talking about how we needed to defeat the homosexual threat. And at that point,
Jesus Christ,
things very quickly went off the rails.
Tell me, where did you grow up? Tell me, I didn't know you. When did you grow up in Alabama or Texas or somewhere like that? I didn't think that kind of...
It was insane.
I didn't think that kind of thing... I know we're going off the film a bit, but this is fascinating. I didn't think that kind of thing happened in the UK. I'm not saying that kind of...
Yeah, it does, apparently.
I'm not saying that kind of religious homophobia and extremism doesn't exist in the UK. What I'm saying is, I didn't know there were churches that taught that.
Oh, yeah, no, it was crazy. So basically,
my idea of church, of like religion in England is basically just based around tea and biscuits.
Well, not to go into too many details, but basically my grandparents are very heavily religious and very much involved in the church. And this is probably about 10 years ago now, I was asked whether I would be interested in going along. I've not really ever been religious. I'd probably describe myself as a humanist if I'm anything. Agnostic, probably, but humanist seems like the nicest fit for my personality. But they asked me whether I'd be interested in going along because a church in the area had purchased a circus tent for rental for a month. And each week they were putting on a different...
That's weirdly fitting.
Yeah, really bizarre. They bought this big top. And basically what they were going to do is every week for a month they were going to give a service but also do a play based on one of the stories of the Bible.
Right.
And it was like week 1 was, I think it was like Adam and Eve and the start of the garden and all that. Week 2 was Moses and freeing the slaves and all of that. But the final week was the life of Jesus. But it wasn't Jesus Christ Superstar. It was literally just key moments from Jesus' life right up to the crucifixion. And they did the crucifixion as well, which was like, wow, okay, very over the top.
Was it a real-time depiction of the crucifixion? So you actually did just sit there for 24 hours while the man screamed on a cross?
Pretty much. All of them were about an hour and a half to 2 hours long.
This is how we will teach you to love everyone.
So I said that I was only interested in going to a couple. I went to 2. I think I went to the Moses one, which was fairly middle ground, standard Christian tea and biscuit stuff. And that was what made me go back for the second one, which was the story of Jesus.
Yeah.
And they went through all of it, and it was very much sort of angled from a, be nice to your neighbour, care about people, Jesus died for your sins, do what you got to do what's right. And it was fairly middle ground, a little bit intense at times, because they did, like I say, they really put the blood into the crucifixion. And then at the end of it, they pulled Jesus down off the cross, and they did him up, and he sort of glowed and floated away.
And resurrected him, I hope.
Yeah, they did the resurrection, and he sort of disappears off stage. And then the pastor for that church comes up, and he starts sort of saying, and as you can see, Jesus was our light and our life, and he looked after us all, and you should take his teachings everywhere you go, compassion and caring for your fellow man. And then he started going through thanks for people who were involved in the thing. But then it started to tinge a little bit, and he goes, and these people, they've done a really good job, because we've got to be careful. There's a lot of evils in the world, and I had a dream last night, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, something's going a bit weird here. This isn't right. He goes, I had a dream, and in this vision, I was in a giant glass prism that was floating above the United Kingdom, and my dad was with me, and we were both in this glass prism looking down on the United Kingdom, and suddenly big patches of it burst into flames, and we were watching the country fall apart and burn down before our very eyes. And it was because we have to deal with the homosexual oppression, and we've got to make sure that the homosexuals don't corrupt our souls and
Whoa, okay.
And I'm sitting here like, what? Yeah.
Okay. And there was none of this.
Wow.
And there was none of this like beforehand, like none of like homophobic stuff before he got into this, talking about his fucking dream or whatever he had.
Yeah, nothing was homophobic was mentioned in the play. Nothing was even suspect in the play. It was completely no gay people were in that play at all, which was probably actually the most suspect thing about it.
I bet he didn't really have that dream. I bet he just like, had the kind of dreams everyone has, where it's like, it wouldn't be as good if he talked about his actual dream probably at night, which was probably like, I had a dream where I turned into a fox, and then we were all being chased by the Band Eurasia. And then we were suddenly in Algiers, and the sky turned purple, and I got eaten by a cloud, and then a horse came over and said, "Hello, I'm a horse. How do you do?" And then I woke up.
Well, this was the thing, and basically he went off on this rant about how the country would be destroyed if we let gay people get into positions of power, and that we have to be incredibly wary at all times of the homosexual menace.
Is this
And then they started handing out pamphlets.
Of course.
And it was this booklet didn't really have a lot of homophobia in it particularly. It was largely more sort of religious quotes, but at the end it did have an extended paragraph about how we need to really keep an eye on gay people because they're going to corrupt society.
I have part experience of that. My sister, when she was in high school, her RE teacher got fired because he had a homophobic meltdown once. When I say homophobic meltdown, really? What I mean is like he just did this thing where he was basically like, and the truth is, God hates the gays. He hates them all, and obviously like the people in his class were obviously like, whoa, that is not cool. What are you saying? And they were like, we're going to tell the headmaster or headmistress or whoever, and we're going to tell him you said this. He was like, I don't give a fuck. This is what my sister told me. That the guy was just like full on saying, I don't give a fuck. Tell who you want. I'm going to say what I want. Like full on meltdown.
Wow.
We're talking Linehan.
Jesus.
He was proper doing a Linehan. And I often wonder where he is now. He's probably in the street. He's probably one of those people you see.
Probably teamed up with that bloody pastor who I met.
Yeah, those guys are probably... They're currently in Manchester City Centre right now raving about how God's going to come down and kill us all because we have pink hair or whatever. Depressing.
I mean, mercifully, his position shifted somewhat as time went on because that same pastor ended up becoming the pastor of my local church. And I only ever go to church at Christmas, and that's more of a kind of obligation to my grandparents.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is upsetting.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about this until you pointed it out. But, well, that's...
What? They just launched a fucking horse, man.
Now, here's the thing, this is really depressing. So, obviously, when it shows it falling off the thing, that's obviously dodgy back projection. But that shot where the horse falls in the water, I mean, that's a horse falling in water. You can't really...
And even more disturbing is you don't see the horse after the fact either.
No. Well, do you know what I found out when I was looking into this? You know those little captions that come up in the credits of every film now that has animals in it where it says, "Oh, there's the horse, Dan. See, he's fine."
Oh, he's all right. Okay, that's fine.
I don't know but those little disclaimers that come up saying no animals were harmed, all animal activity was monitored by the Humane Association of whoever. It's because of this film, apparently.
Really?
Yeah. So apparently, from what I gathered, that in real life the horse was fine, but a lot of like animal groups, like I want to say PETA, but I don't think it was them. I think it was someone else, or BUAV or someone like that. They got really upset and they were like complaining to Orion and everyone, saying that like, you killed a horse, you killed a horse. Like, no, we didn't kill a horse. It was just, and so that's why films now put that disclaimer on to make it clear that animals weren't harmed, because if you watch that film, it's not clear. I mean, I know they cut to
looks like that horse fucking died.
I know they cut to a shot afterwards of the horse swimming, bobbing about, but that's in the film, not in reality, where they threw a horse into some water.
Yeah.
So yeah, this film is kind of a trailblazer in its own mini way. In that's the reason why
helped to make the film industry a bit better.
That's the reason why you get that little thing at the end of every single film now. By law, I don't know if it's by law or just because they do it to prevent themselves from, being sued into oblivion.
Yeah,
say,
I mean, I imagine if you didn't have it, then you'd just end up with hundreds of very upset people writing in.
well, it's the same. It's just that sort of over legal thinking, isn't it? It's the same reason why they have the caption, which I always find interesting. You know, the caption that says something like, "This is a work of fiction. Any relation to people, dead or otherwise, is coincidental." That kind of thing, which I always thought was weird as a kid, and then I realised that they kind of have to do that because it's someone with the name. For example, someone with the name James Bond, if they didn't have that, could feasibly sue them for making an inaccurate version of his life. And I imagine there's a few people in life. In fact, we know there's someone called James Bond because Ian Fleming pinched the name from a guy who wrote books on birds. Not birds as in the kind that, not birds as in women, actual just real birds. So yeah. So anyway,
I imagine it'd be funny if somebody who was. I was going to say it'd be funny if somebody who was called James Bond sued the producers of James Bond because he was claiming that his life was more interesting than the films.
This film is grossly inaccurate. I shag far more birds than he does.
I'm drinking Russian Standard right now. Who'd drink Absolut? Load of bollocks.
While he's on the phone to the film studio, he's on skis with an explosion behind him with two women either side.
All naked.
Yes. Tell Broccoli he can kiss my ass. He's American now. Don't know why.
He's also in a submarine at the time.
Of course. Uh-oh.
But yes, sorry, to get back onto my point, I left my thread. The only other time I've ever had weird run-ins with Christians was at a Christmas party that I was asked to go to a while ago. Now, they do church services over here over Christmas. They just sort of sing carols, and then you go in the back and have a nice cup of tea and coffee and some biscuits or a mince pie.
That's what I mean when I say
like
that my version of... Because when I think of American religion, I think of very serious, spiritual... Well, not like, people who are really into it. I know that's a weird way to say it. You're into. I'm really into God. He's all right. But people who are really into it,
he's great.
Like singing in churches and shouting and doing that thing where they talk gibberish. And when I think of English religion or UK religion, I just think of old women sat round tea and biscuits.
Yes, congregations of 3 people, including the organist, the speaker, and a tin of spaghetti hoops.
So you went to a Christmas party.
So I went to a Christmas party. Well, I said I was going to a Christmas party. It's the only thing I do every year for my grandparents' appeasement. They're like, please come and help us represent
please,
the
Dan,
Christmas
pretend.
party. And I like singing Christmas.
Can you pretend to be religious, Dan? just for the do.
I'll be whatever you want, baby. So I go along, I sing some carols, because I like Christmas carols, it's fair enough, and I'm a sucker for a mince pie, so yeah, you know what, if it keeps my grandparents happy, I'll go to church once a year for the Christmas service. It's the least I can do,
Sounds
really.
fairish.
A couple of years ago, I went, and this was before all of the nasty lockdown business kicked off, I was running a little bit late to the service on the day. I was only about 5 minutes late, but I pulled up outside the church, and I went to go and open the doors, and they were locked. And I could hear people inside, but I couldn't get in, so I started banging on the doors, and no one came out, and nobody said anything, and it was really cold, it was almost snowing pretty much, so I just sort of went, well, they're not letting me in, so I'll go home. So I got home, and about an hour later, my mum calls me and says, where were you? And I said, oh, well, I tried to get in, and they'd locked the doors, so I couldn't get in. And she went, what? And then she hung up, and there was a bit of a silence for about 10-15 minutes. And then she called me back again. And these were the exact words she used. Yeah. She went, sorry about that, Dan. I spoke to the pastor, and he said that he locks the doors 5 minutes after the service starts in case Muslims come and try to bomb the church.
Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah.
So they actually said that. Oh,
that was the actual words he used.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was just, what the fuck? What?
Jesus Christ.
And apparently this had become a real thing. Apparently this pastor had become convinced that the Muslims in the area were planning some kind of raid on the church. Bearing in mind, the church only has about 4 people in it, tops, at any one time.
Holy fuck.
But yeah, they'd started locking all the doors, which was a fire hazard as well. They locked the fire doors too, so people wouldn't be able to get out. Yeah. Only one person had the key to unlock these doors.
The ironic thing is, if someone did bomb them, they wouldn't be able to get out.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But yeah, it was after that. I basically went, well, I'm not coming back anymore.
That is crazy.
So yeah, the very bizarre world of extremist Christians.
It's slightly nastier than what I thought when you were telling me the story. What I thought the punchline was going to be was that you rang him up and then they said, "Oh, we heard you were a heathen non-believer, so we locked you out in the cold and dark where you belong."
No, they were just being racist.
No, they were just being good old frothing at the mouth racists.
Yeah. But yeah, after that, I basically ended up having a long conversation with both my parents and my grandparents where I said, look, as much as I like to make my grandparents happy because God knows how many years they've got left, I don't know if I can be in a church that features people who think they're going to get bombed every Christmas.
Was that it was in the Daily Mail that week? Because I imagine if the people in this church were over a certain age, they would likely be Daily Mail readers by law. So I imagine there was probably a thing that 8 out of 10 churches have been attacked by Muslim extremists. Our evidence is some bloke on Facebook.
We asked Big Dave on Twitter.
Who reckons he heard someone say it once.
In a pub. After 6 pints. But I don't know how they ended up going down the gateway of rampant homophobia to rampant racism. Well, what I mean did they both start at the same time? I'd
have thought it's a fairly...
Did one feed the other as the corridor?
I'd have thought it's a fairly straightforward route from hatred to hate begets hate, after all, doesn't it?
Well, that's very true. Very true.
If you hear me chewing now, it's because I have pizza now.
Whoa, what flavour?
Pepperoni. When Dan talks about his homophobic past, I have to respond by eating cheese-based meals. It's just a thing. I have.
To clarify, Dan is not a homophobe or a racist. Dan is a lovely man who loves everybody equally and evenly, with no exceptions.
All Daniel activity was monitored by the Daily Humane Association. Although yes.
No Daniels were harmed.
Although we did throw him off a cliff. Not for the film. He was getting on our nerves, so we just fucking threw him off a cliff. And now we're in Egypt, except we're not.
Hooray! I hope Desmond Llewellyn gets to shoot some pharaohs again.
Fuck Ramses. What could he do? Nothing.
For this comedy dining experience, by the way, I had 2 Rustler's burgers and I've had 2 bottles of water, and I'm going to go get some apple turnovers once this is finished.
Come on, you're not a student anymore. Why are you still eating Rustlers?
They were quick. That's the only answer. I went to a shop and I was like, right, I need some food. What am I going to eat? Fuck it. These take 4 minutes and then they're edible. Okay, I'll have that. I just need matter in me at the minute.
You shouldn't be allowed to eat those after a certain age, Dan. I'm sorry. It's like how you shouldn't be allowed to eat spaghetti hoops and sausage after you're over the age of 10. You shouldn't be allowed to eat Rustlers over the age of 22.
Oh, but I like spaghetti hoops and sausages.
And I like Rustlers burgers. And it's just occurred to me how much.
Yum, 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 yum.
It's just occurred to me how much Largo looks like Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
He does. Looks exactly like him.
Why did you mention it?
This is what inspired the film Memento.
Maybe they could get like a remake going. You know, CG Bond.
That'd be weird. That'd be weird. A Christopher Nolan directed Bond film. Don't know what that'd be like.
It'd be 6 hours long. The colour palette would be very muted, and we'd spend a lot of time learning about Bond's troubled childhood.
There'd be lots of talking, lots of like dramatic scenes where he's talking with M or someone in very low light about, I don't know, the darkness within or something. Because I feel like most of his films are just 80% talking and 20% fun stuff.
Okay, here's a theoretical question we haven't gotten round to yet with these Bond films, which is weird because we're like 16 films in now.
I know. Disgraceful.
If you could have any mainstream director Bond film, who would you pick?
Just going to finish chewing loudly. I'll tell you. if I had to pick a director working today, I'd quite like to see. Just thinking now, who do I? You know, I tell you who I'd like to see making a Bond film. The what's he called? The guy who does the Matthew something who does the Kingsman films.
Oh, I know who you're on about. I can't remember his name.
Is it Matthew Vaughn or someone like that? Something like that. Name escapes me. He also did Kick-Ass. Yeah, I'd like to see a Bond film directed by him. Because those,
I think that
because
could
those,
work.
because
I think
those,
some good stuff out.
because those Kingsman films are basically just like modern versions of the Roger Moore era Bond films. They're really campy and they're really over the top, unapologetically so.
Sounds fun to me.
The only thing I don't like about them is that I feel like they're a bit too on the nose and a bit too meta sometimes. Like, there's lots of like references to like, you know, it's sort of like that Hot Fuzz type thing. Oh, actually, there's a thought. Edgar Wright.
Now that would be good.
That would be interesting to see what he'd do. Maybe lots of it'd look lots of like crazy whip pans and things like that. I imagine.
I could see it working.
It'd be good because it'd be different.
Absolutely. They give it a variety. See, I'm going to be predictable Dan here, and I'm going to get groans. I'm going to say Lynch.
First of all, I highly doubt that David Lynch would ever even consider making a Bond film. In fact, I doubt the thought would even enter his brain for less than a second. The thought would probably be in his brain for the same length of time as like when you're walking around outside, and you know, like you're walking outside and you just say, "Oh look, there's two magpies over there," and then you get on with the rest of your day. Lynch, I'm like, you got to be realistic. Like someone like Matthew Vaughn or Edgar Wright would probably be up for directing Bond films. Lynch would not even. It wouldn't even be on his to do like. Maybe it wouldn't even be on his question mark list. He would just write it off. I mean, I'm sure someone.
You see the way I'm thinking.
I'm sure someone's asked.
The way I'm
past.
envisioning it is I'm thinking of Twin Peaks.
Well, that's not a spy show. That's a cop show.
Well, no, but it's a similar principle, isn't it?
No.
Both deal with kind of an espionage, we've got to solve this crime situation.
No, well, no, not really. I mean, could Lynch... I don't know how much action Lynch has directed. I'm just thinking now. I don't think he's directed any big action scenes.
He did Dune. Dune had a lot of actiony bits in it, and he did Blue Velvet, which had quite a few.
He hated Dune and wanted his name taken off it.
Yes, but that was more through studio interference rather than he didn't like the premise.
Well, he just didn't like. He doesn't even like any version of it. Like, there's a version of Dune that he cut together. Well, even he said that he's not keen on it. He doesn't watch it or doesn't think about it. I think he said the only thing he liked about Dune was the fact that it introduced him to Kyle MacLachlan for the first time, and began their professional relationship. So it was good in that
wonderful friendship.
So it was good in that regard, because if you think about it, that's probably what led him. You know, you wouldn't have got Blue Velvet, you wouldn't have got Twin Peaks.
True, very true.
Because I doubt he'd have made those without Kyle MacLachlan, really. But
he's a very distinct personality.
I'll tell you who. He was never asked to do a Bond film, but Tarantino has talked about what he'd do if he made a Bond film. Yeah, he said.
That's an interesting choice.
He said he'd do it like he said it in the 50s, so he'd set it sort of around the time of the Ian Fleming original stories are actually set, and he'd do it in black and white, and he'd keep Pierce Brosnan in the role.
Ooh, nice.
I mean, it would probably be not very good. But
no.
it'd probably just half the runtime would just be Bond and someone talking around going, "I really like the films of Francois Truffaut." The seminal, just talking about films or pop culture or whatever. And then 10% of it would be the actual
Truffaut. Ah, yeah,
shooting and action stuff.
May we never live to see the day of Kevin Smith presents James Bond.
That would be a disaster on every conceivable level.
Jay and Silent Bob would get like a cameo as a pair of hotel receptionists or something.
That would be a disaster of some proportion if that were to happen. Which I can't see it happening in the future.
No.
At any point in the future. But
Domino, tell me, have you ever gone ash to mouth?
Who's your favourite Spider-Man? Who's your favourite Spider-Man villain? Mine's Mysterio.
What the fuck are you on about?
Mine's Mysterio. Got a little dome on his head. I like domes.
If Superman had sex with Lois Lane when he came, would it be like a shotgun shell going through her insides?
It would be interesting though.
That's why he has to wear a kryptonite condom.
Like Tom Scott in his copyright video talks about the possibility of what it would be like if the Bond IP fell out of copyright and anyone could just make a Bond film. I'd like to see that. Just
I would.
Imagine if they did that. Imagine if you did that, like, whatever happened to anthology films? Remember anthology films where they get like 5 or 10 different directors and they all just did a little segment and they just strung them together? Why not do that?
Stuff like Creepshow and the likes.
Not so much. I don't mean so much the horror anthology. What I mean is like films where it's like you get like directors and you get 5 or 10 of them together, and they all just direct like 10 minutes of a film, or like 10 minutes of like their own shorts essentially. Like Aria, I think it was called, in the 80s was one of them, where they got like Jim Jarmusch, Ken Russell, you know, Peter Greenaway, people like that, and they all just made this little thing. They should do something like that for Bond. Just do a thing where it's like, you know, get like 10 or 15 directors, and get them to all shoot like 10 minutes of what they do in a Bond film, and then just put that together, see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, even if it was just like a promotional thing, like I know that Doctor Who recently started doing little short things as part of promos, like they'll do like a 5-minute episode that's just like a promo thing.
Yeah.
If they did that with Bond, that would be fun. I'd be interested in seeing, you know, I don't know, Spielberg's take on Bond, or
well, we said this last time.
Like Tarantino's
Spielberg was offered it after he did Jaws. Spielberg could have done Spy Who Loved Me. John Landis.
That would have been interesting.
John Landis could have done Spy Who Loved Me.
Max Landis will never do the Spy Who Loved Me.
Max Landis is dead. No, he's not really dead. His career is dead, maybe.
Ow, my everything. He literally can't move. He's paralysed from the neck down.
Oh, fuck, while we were talking, the film finished. Oh, well.
That's the nature of Never Say Never Again. We got onto an interesting thread about homophobia, very violent racism, and who would be the best person to do a Bond film, and somehow the film went.
It's because it ends quite abruptly, doesn't it? Like, remember in Thunderball, there was a big showdown on the actual yacht itself. But then, when in this film, it ends on the underwater battle. It just like, right, done, bye.
I suppose... Yeah, and I suppose as well it doesn't help that the end of this film is particularly boring. Not a lot happens, really.
Sean's just like, where's my paycheck? There it is, bye. I'm off to make...
Not coming back, see you never.
I'm off to make Highlander.
I'm off to make Sir Billy.
Oh no, he just drowned Jonathan English.
Oh no, he's not coming back.
Oh, this is a good opportunity for me to talk about the alternative ending. So...
go ahead, then.
This is great. I know, I just want to see the little fourth wall moment here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, kids. You know who it is.
He's gone and he's never coming back. Randy Grandpa is officially gone.
Bond has become omniscient. He is now aware of you, the audience, and of the fact that he's a fictional character.
Of all the Bonds to become omnipotent, Sean Connery's Bond would be the one I would least want to have that power.
Anthony Sharp, that, you know, the guy who I said was the Clockwork Orange guy. And
oh, yes. Oh, you said you wanted to also check the fight coordinator.
Anthony Sharp, that was his name. I'll try to remember his name before. Okay, so basically, Sean had an idea for an alternative ending for the film, where it was going to end with him and Kim Basinger walking down the street, like London or wherever they were, and he was going to bump into someone, like accidentally, and then he turns around, and we see who he's bumped into, and it's Roger Moore. And then he just kind of looks at the camera, and then it ends. as if to say, fancy that, eh? Mad.
Hey.
I've just crossed multiverses.
Bond into the multiverse.
And you know what? Sean really wanted to do it. He got in touch with Roger, who really wanted to do it, but they couldn't convince Irving Kershner and the producers to say yes to it.
Oh,
yeah, because despite the fact that they were, despite the so-called, quote, Battle of the Bonds, Sean and Roger were always good friends.
Oh wow, the title song was Herb Alpert.
Sorry,
I didn't know that this song was Herb Alpert.
Oh yeah.
Of the Tijuana Brass.
Yep.
Why did they get the Tijuana Brass to do a Bond film?
That's like, I believe, and what else? This isn't his first gig of Bond. Remember what else he did?
Go on.
Casino Royale.
Did he? Oh yes, he did. Oh god. It's a bit like getting the Fat Boys in to do a Bond theme.
This isn't his first Bond rodeo. But yeah, so despite this so-called, quote, Battle of the Bonds, Sean and Roger were always good mates. And Roger apparently really wanted to do it. He thought it'd be funny. But they just never...
I agree. I think it would have been hilarious.
Yeah. But they never... It just didn't happen for whatever reason. I imagine they went to Irving Kershner or Kevin McClory or whoever. They just went, we're not fucking doing that. That's ridiculous. No, instead, we'll end with you. No. Instead, we've got a much more better, credible idea for the ending. You wink at the camera.
Instead, we've got George Lazenby. You will act beside him instead.
They approached George Lazenby to do this. They did, yeah.
Would have been good. Just give him a second outing. And I enjoyed him in his first outing.
He was going to do it until Sean at the last minute said that he was going to come back, so they went, we've got to go with him now.
Get in bin. I really love that about... that's one of the joys of Twitter these days. Twitter's a cesspit, but at least it has a few nice moments. George Lazenby is on Twitter, and when No Time to Die came out, he got an advanced screening. He basically, all he could say in his tweet was, went to see No Time to Die today. Interesting film. I liked the lighting. That was it. That was his entire review.
I remember you showed me that and I thought, Jesus Christ, that's all you had to fucking say.
Yeah.
That's like going to see
Oh, speaking of which,
that's like going to see a film and being like, oh, it was all right. I like the costumes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was going to say, you've now seen No Time to Die.
I liked the colour timing. I thought the colour timing was great.
I enjoyed the fact that everything was put in order.
All the shots were in focus. So that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
That's a 5-bagger right there, and maybe throw in a little editor's cutting mark to show the film was really well handled.
But I mean, you watch whole films, Dan, where none of it's in focus, so that's more praise coming from you.
To me, I was going to say, if I'm praising it because it's edited and in focus, that means something really good has happened.
Exactly. So you were saying something about No Time to Die.
You actually have seen No Time to Die. Yeah, I was saying you've actually been to see it now, because since our last recording...
I saw it, last week.
Seen it.
As of this date, which the 17th of October...
what did you think of it?
The 17th of October 2021. There you go, I've just literally dated the commentary. Enjoy.
Well, hey.
Is it worth talking about it now? Are we not better talking about it when we get to that point?
I mean, you can give us just an initial thought, because it is the latest Bond film at this point. Okay. We probably won't get this opportunity again. So
I'll give you the spoiler-free review. I'll talk about it without talking about any plot beats or anything. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a bit long. It was a good way to end the experiment that was the Craig era, and I didn't think it was as good as Skyfall, which I think is probably the best of the Daniel Craig ones. it's gets a bit meandering, but overall it's very hard to talk about the film without talking about the spoilers. But I will say this: I didn't enjoy Rami Malek as the baddie. I thought he was a bit weak. I thought they should have used Blofeld.
I remember you saying I thought he'd got a bit more screen time.
They should have used Blofeld, but I think they realised how much they fucked Blofeld up in Spectre, and maybe they didn't, which is a crying shame because I think that would have worked better. But it was fine. It's not my favourite of the Daniel Craig ones, but it was a fitting way for them to end it on, and it'll be interesting to see what they do next. I'm really hoping that they do something very interesting with the casting of the next one. I hope they don't. If they go for someone like a Henry Cavill or Tom Hardy or someone like that, someone who'd be obviously good for the role, who obviously fit James Bond, it could work. But I don't know if it almost feel like going back on itself, or maybe it's time to do that. Maybe it's time to sort of, because I was talking earlier about how I'd like the Bond films to be more like the Kingsman films, of just these crazy cartoons of nonsense, and maybe it's time to do that because. It's like Bond films are like Doctor Who or like Batman. What happens is they always go in these shifts of like, oh, it's too dark. Well, we'll make it light again. Oh, it's too daft. We'll make it dark again. And back and forth forever and ever.
Yeah, like a pendulum.
So basically, to sum up, I like the lighting.
That's good. Ben likes the lighting. Lazenby likes the lighting. That's No Time to Die. Getting 5 bags from Ben. Check it out.
Is that what they're saying over at Eon? That's 2 people who like the lighting. We've got a win. We've got a winner, folks.
I thought you were going to say we've got away with it, and then they sort of hit a button and Celebrate by Kool and the Gang comes on. A banner drops down with the words "Good Lighting" written on it. Well, yeah. So No Time to Die. Go check it out. And you've been listening to the Comedy Dining Experience on the film Never Say Never Again. Which
we've been watching Never Say Never Again until the last 10 minutes when we got bored. We talked about other stuff.
Last 10 minutes, last hour and a half.
The last 2 hours and 14 minutes. But everything before that was great.
Yeah, it was brilliant. So thank you so much for joining us, and stay safe and have a good one, and we will see you next time.
At the movies.